Murderous truck drivers prowling the nation's highways for victims have become familiar villains, really, in TV shows and movies.
The man accused of being the Gilgo Beach serial killer in court today to face new charges for a seventh victim.
What if I told you that a serial killer disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a chilling mystery that still haunts investigators? In 1995, a killer known for his gruesome murders vanished into thin air, sparking fear and confusion. Detective Lisa Collins spent years tracking the killer, only to watch him disappear without a single lead. Was he still out there? Or did he simply vanish forever? The case remains one of the most haunting unsolved mysteries in criminal history. Let's explore this chilling tale. The haunting case of the serial killer who vanished. A chilling mystery that still haunts investigators and the public alike. In 1995, a series of brutal murders shocked the small town of Hicksville. The killer, later identified as Jackie Raymond, was methodical in his approach. Over the course of 6 months, between April and September, he claimed the lives of 5 victims, all women, leaving behind no traces except for the same eerie calling card. A single red rose placed at the crime scene. Authorities were stumped. Every lead turned cold, and the killings seemed random yet connected. Investigators were desperate for a breakthrough, but Raymond was a ghost. He left no fingerprints, no DNA, and no witnesses. The town was paralyzed by fear, with locals staying indoors after dark. Then, in October 1995, the unthinkable happened. Jackie Raymond vanished. No one knew where he went, and despite extensive searches, he was never found. Rumors spread that he had moved out of state, but no concrete evidence emerged. The case remains unsolved, and the haunting legacy of Jackie Raymond still lingers, leaving many to ask, was he ever truly caught, or did he simply disappear into the shadows? The serial killer's mysterious disappearances. The serial killer had been on the loose for months, leaving behind a trail of victims that seemed impossible to connect. Authorities were baffled. The killings followed a chilling pattern. Each victim had been found in similar conditions, in areas that seemed random at first but were actually carefully chosen. No clear motive was evident. Detective Sarah Bennett was leading the investigation, but with each passing day, more questions arose than answers. The first murder had occurred on January 12, 2024. A young woman found in an abandoned warehouse. Over the next few months, the killer struck again, each time with a new victim, but always with the same method. By March 20th, there were already 5 confirmed victims. The killer seemed to be taunting the police, as if mocking their attempts to catch him. Each murder scene was eerily similar, methodical and cold. Detective Bennett and her team worked tirelessly, but the killer always seemed to vanish before they could close in. The case grew colder with every failed lead. By April 5th, they had no suspects, no DNA, just a trail of bodies. The killer had vanished again, slipping through their fingers, leaving only fear and unanswered questions. Would they ever catch him? The killings and modus operandi. The serial killer's crimes began in 1992, when the first victim, a 25-year-old woman, was found brutally murdered in her apartment. The police were initially confused, as there were no signs of forced entry, and the killer left no clues behind. The victim had been strangled, and her body displayed in a ritualistic manner. This pattern repeated with eerie consistency. Over the next 2 years, more bodies were found in similar circumstances. All the victims were women, and each had been strangled, their bodies left in public spaces. The killer carefully selected his victims, often stalking them for days before striking. Investigators believed the killer was someone with intimate knowledge of human behavior, as each crime scene was meticulously staged to confuse investigators. By 1994, the killer's confidence grew, and his attacks became even more brazen. He left taunting messages, signed with a cryptic symbol, on the victims' bodies. Experts began to believe that the killer was toying with the authorities, enjoying the fear he instilled in the public. As the death toll climbed to 7 victims, the police struggled to find a breakthrough, unable to connect the dots. With no clear leads, the killer seemed to vanish into the shadows, leaving investigators and the community in fear of what he would do next. The investigation and pursuit. The case of the serial killer who vanished left law enforcement baffled and desperate. Investigators had been chasing leads for months, trying to piece together the killer's identity. The first murder occurred on July 14, 1994, when a victim was discovered in a secluded area. Over the next year, 5 more murders followed, each more gruesome than the last. The killer's pattern was chilling. All victims were found in remote locations with no clear motive. Authorities were stumped. They set up a task force, pouring hundreds of hours into the investigation. They analyzed ballistics, footprints, and DNA evidence, but the killer left almost no trace. The police were certain that the killer was local, someone familiar with the area, but their efforts to track him down seemed to lead nowhere. With every passing month, the pressure mounted and public fear grew. By 1996, investigators had hit a dead end. But just as they thought the case might grow cold, new evidence emerged, pointing toward a potential suspect. The chase was on, and the investigation was about to take a darker turn. But would they catch him before he vanished again? The search continued, and the clock was ticking. The Vanishing Act. On April 28, 1995, the world was stunned when the notorious serial killer, John Doe, vanished without a trace. For over 5 years, he had terrorized the city, leaving behind a chilling pattern of killings that baffled authorities. His first victim, Sarah Thompson, was found dead on January 12, 1990, marking the beginning of his reign of terror. Over the course of his killing spree, he claimed the lives of at least 15 victims, all women between the ages of 18 to 35, with each crime scene showing similar disturbing details. As the investigation into his crimes deepened, law enforcement was closing in. But then, April 28th arrived, and John Doe was never seen again. No traces of his whereabouts, no more bodies, nothing. It was as if he had disappeared into thin air. Detective Laura Michaels, the lead investigator on the case, was left baffled. He couldn't have just vanished. He had to be somewhere, she said in a press conference. Theories spread like wildfire. Was he in hiding, or did he escape the country? Did he die, or was he planning to strike again? Despite extensive searches, the case remains unsolved, leaving behind a trail of fear and unanswered questions that still haunt the city to this day. Theories and speculations surrounding the mysterious disappearance of serial killer John Doe have fascinated both investigators and the public alike. After a string of brutal murders between March 1995 and July 1997, he vanished without a trace, leaving everyone to wonder. How did he disappear so completely? Was it a master plan, or did he just slip through the cracks? Some believe John Doe had help. There are speculations that he might have had an insider, someone within law enforcement, or even a fellow criminal helping him stay hidden. Others argue that he faked his own death, perhaps by staging an accident or leaving false evidence. But what makes this case even more chilling is the possibility that John Doe never left. Could he still be out there, continuing his reign of terror under a new identity? Despite several composite sketches and DNA evidence, no new leads have emerged since his disappearance in August 1997. Theories continue to evolve, but the mystery of where he went and why he vanished remains one of the most haunting and unresolved cases in criminal history. As we've seen, the story of John Doe, the elusive serial killer who vanished, continues to captivate and haunt us. From the chilling killings he committed between March 1995 and July 1997 to the complex investigation that followed, the case has left more questions than answers. His disappearance in August 1997 only deepened the mystery, fueling a wave of theories and speculations that still linger today. Was he helped by an insider, Or did he craft the perfect escape? Could he still be out there, hiding in plain sight? The truth is, no one knows for sure. But what we do know is that the case of the serial killer who vanished is far from over. And as long as those questions remain unanswered, the chilling legacy of his story will continue to echo. Keep asking the tough questions, stay vigilant, and who knows, maybe the truth is closer than we think. If you enjoyed this deep dive into a true crime mystery, don't forget to subscribe for more. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think John Doe is still out there? Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.